In this video, I challenge myself to create some really good images at the beach without any real foreground interest. Hey, if you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up, and if you like this content, make sure you subscribe. Well, I have gotten to my location about 1 hour before sunrise, so a little early, but there's already a little bit of brightness in the sky. Definitely some clouds around, so I'm hoping we get a great colorful sunrise with some of these clouds picking up some of the brightness and reds and oranges of the sun. Have to wait a little bit, but like getting here early, I can scout things out. So I came down to the beach for some sunrise photography. Typically, if I'm shooting at the shore, I really want to have some interest in the foreground. You know, it could be some rocks, like some of these pictures I'm showing you now. I'm a sucker for a great fishing pier, and I've shot piers in, in my area, California, Florida, all over. Today's challenge is to try to create some interesting images, really without any foreground interest at all. And I'm going to do that by altering my shutter speed and taking images as the light changes as well, and hopefully we can create something good. Well, it's still pretty dark, but you are getting a little bit of light coming through this sliver between the clouds out there, so I'm just trying to get some shots. I'm down pretty low close to the water. Got my camera on a tripod here, and I'm just trying to capture some of the nice orange in the sky down the shore with the expansive ocean on the right using my wide-angle lens. I'm kind of liking the way the light is reflecting off this water as you go down the shore, so I think I'm going to get my long lens out and try to compress this scene and focus really more on the water. Ooh, getting a close wave here, and how the light is hitting it. So if you have no foreground interest and you're at a beach, hopefully you're lucky enough and you have an interesting sky, which so far this is pretty good. At least there's some clouds in the sky. It's not just a plain blue sky, which would be terribly boring. Still before sunrise, so I'm just waiting around for that light to come up and hopefully hit some of these waves. You know, when there's no foreground interest at a beach, one thing you can do is make the waves the interest. And it helps to alter your shutter speed a bit. So what I'm trying to do now is really capture the motion of this white water in front as it comes towards the camera. And so I'm using 1/3 of a second, which is a great shutter speed to capture water movement like this. And it's actually pretty good. Oh, that was a great one. So, yeah, these are good dramatic shots. Plus, I've got this dark sky in fact too. And I'm using a graduated ND filter on the camera. So I'm getting some really cool dramatic shots. You know, speaking of shutter speeds, one thing of course I like to do, and if you've seen my videos, you've seen this, is to do a very long exposure when you're by the water. For those kind of shots, it really is helpful to have something in the foreground like a pier or some pilings. In fact, about 500 yards down the beach that way, I've shot before. Here's a shot I took earlier this year of these pilings using a really super long exposure. Get a very minimalist, serene image. You know, using a very fast shutter speed to freeze waves and freeze some of this foam down here is also a pretty cool thing to do. So I got my long lens on, my 70 to 200 millimeter lens, and I'm trying to get up to like a 1/1000th of a second to try and freeze that water, maybe just as that wave is beginning to curl. Ideally, I'd have some sun coming through and just getting some of the kind of light rays on the tops of the waves. We'll see if I get that lucky, but waves are pretty good this morning, so we'll see what we can come up with. So the other thing I'm trying to do with the fast shutter speed is just freeze that moment when that wave comes up the hill with foamy water and stops before it retreats, and just capture that with some of the sand and some of the water in the image. So I still got my long lens on. What I'm trying to do now is got a handheld camera, 1/3 of a second, and I'm trying to capture just that curve of the wave with a somewhat longer exposure so it really smooths it out. I'm playing around a bit. I'm panning a little bit with my camera to try to capture again that curve of the wave as it comes into shore. It's really tough, a lot of trial and error, but I'll put up a couple of shots that I got trying to do this. Some sun rays peeking through the clouds on the horizon, so still have my long lens on. I'm just taking some shots of that. Not a terribly interesting shot, but pretty sky anyway.